What's going on, y'all? What's going on? It's been a minute. Good to see y'all back. We are back, of course. Didn't really go anywhere, but really just waiting for any kind of Lions news and stuff like that to go on. And of course, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. So, again, welcome back to the Lions 411 podcast. It is your boy King Keith. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at _ Dr. King's Dream. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to my co host.
All right, what up, world? It is your girl, CB. You can follow us on Spotify, Apple, TikTok clips, 411 Lions, YouTube, Amazon Music, 11 Lions. You can follow me personally on Instagram at CB Love That for ya. All right, so it's been a couple weeks. I know the Lions are didn't they have their OTAs, like that mini camp?
Mm-hmm.
But we want to get to something a little bigger that developed like over the last couple of weeks. Frank Ragnow retired the Lions offensive lineman after 7, 8 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the best in the NFL. So I wonder who we're replacing.
Yeah, very unfortunate, but also I guess could say fortunate for Frank. The fact that he did decide to walk away. It had been a thing that's kind of been a rumor, I guess, in some circles of how long he's going to play. And some people were like, oh, well, he hasn't said he's going to retire. He's probably going to stick around. But some people mentioned the nagging injuries, which he just had a lot of nagging injuries, particularly on his feet. I think it was his toes and just little stuff that will come up. And that's in addition to the stuff that happens during the season. So I get it. I definitely understand it. I don't think there are too many Lions fans who are like, this guy effed us over. Like, he did us wrong. Like, at the end of the day, he did what he did to preserve his body, to make sure that he could live a long, healthy life and be able to enjoy life with his children and his wife and be able to do his fishing and all that kind of stuff that he loves to do. So, good for him. But obviously, as you mentioned, for the Lions, that leads to us likely needing a replacement. And that seems like the Lions could go in a lot of directions. It's really interesting because the Lions did draft 2 guards during the draft. And it seems like some people are like, maybe they knew that this was coming. Neither of those guys was like a traditional center. But at the same time, a lot of those guys have versatility. You got Graham Glasgow, who also has versatility and has played center before. So it seems like it might be a competition. I think that it'll legit be a competition between probably Ratledge and Graham Glasgow for who will be the center versus who will be the guard. And of course, Mahogany, I think, will play the other guard spot. And then you'll have Miles Frazier, who's kind of coming along as well. So if I had to put money on somebody, I would probably put it on Glasgow right now, just because of the fact that he's done it before in the NFL. He's been a good center in the NFL before. And I think that there's just a lot that comes with making all those calls and really being responsible as a center. That would be my expectation, but maybe that Ratledge can move there at some point. Maybe that Frazier can move there at some point. But I think it's going to be a legit competition. I don't think they have a guy that's like penciled in as the guy right now.
Really? Yeah, I thought when I first heard the news, and good luck to Frank. Thank you for all you did for the Lions. We do wish you the best in retirement. Hopefully you come back, maybe coaching staff, I don't know. But I was thinking Glasgow. Just because, the Lions, he's been with the Lions for a minute. He knows the position. He's played the position before. He is a veteran. But like you said, maybe it could be a battle for who would be the replacement. But I'm thinking that they'll maybe go with a veteran, but you never know.
Yeah, and the Lions can still make moves. They can still sign people. I don't think they're going to make a trade necessarily for a center, but they could add some depth pieces along the line. It's just a lot of options, and they do still have a lot of talent on this offensive line. Obviously, though, I think the expectation is that the performance they get from that position may fall off a little bit. It's hard as regular people to really be able to recognize what offensive linemen do well and when they don't do well. Unless you're just seeing a guy that's completely getting run over or just missing assignments. But do you feel like they'll probably suffer some kind of effect from the center losing their starting center, their all-pro starting center, or do you think they'll be able to pick up the pieces pretty well?
So that's a good question. I'm thinking if they were to put a rookie or sign someone that would be new with the Lions, I think we would suffer a setback because with the rookies, they're just drafted. They don't know the rhythm of the team yet, maybe the playbook. If they make Glasgow the center, I think we'll be fine. I think we need a veteran right now. Just pencil them in. and let him play 1 or 2 games just to see where he is. Now, if there's issues or there's problems, then maybe we should revisit. But I think if we have that veteran presence with center, because golf gonna need a good center, we're gonna need a good center. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that they'll be okay. And I think that Glasgow in particular, as a veteran, again, being able to do the communication and stuff like that should be fine. I don't know if it'll be at the level of Frank, but I think it should be good enough. But I don't know. It's really interesting to see going into the season. A lot of people are pointing out that Ragnow did miss a game last year, and the game that he missed, funny enough, was the game against the Seahawks where Jared Goff went 18 for 18 with 300 yards. So everybody's like, oh, well, he played without him and Glasgow took over and it was fine, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, that was one game, and I don't think the Seahawks are playing particularly well at that point in the season either. But also, it does kind of lend toward the idea that Goff and Glasgow could figure it out. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. The fact that there's a new offensive coordinator as well, I think makes things pretty interesting. I don't think they're going to change the offense very much, but some things are going to look a little bit different. So OTAs and, training camp and all that kind of stuff is going to be really, really important this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of shifting gears a little bit from a person who did leave to a person who seemingly wants to come back. Zadarius Smith was interviewed, actually, and it seems like it's been a consistent theme all offseason where if people ask where he wants to be, he's pretty steady on, wanting to go to a team that's contending for a championship. He was at the BET Awards, funny enough, which I think a lot of people know he's in a relationship with rapper Cash Doll, who, of course, is from Detroit. So
Shout out.
really cool to see. And he was at the award show and they asked him what he was expecting and, where he wanted to be. And he said he wanted to be in Detroit. He said he wants to be a Lion, and that the Lions know that, and that there may be some things to work out behind the scenes, but that's his hope, is to come back and be a Lion. Brad Holmes was asked about it during the offseason. Obviously, they did cut Zadarius Smith, but Brad Holmes mentioned that, of course, that was strictly for financial purposes. The fact of the matter was they just couldn't handle his cap hit, which I think was at like $11 million. So they let him go, and they have an offer, it seems like, kind of out there for him. Nobody knows what that offer is for, if it's enough for him, if he's still looking around at other teams before maybe he comes back to the Lions. I don't think that we'll ever really get an answer until we actually see where he signs at. But CB, just wanted to know, what do you think the Lions should do in this case? Because you don't want to spend too much on a player that is basically a rotational player, but at the same time, Zadarius brings a lot to the team.
Well, it's kind of hard to answer that. So Zadarius, he came around that middle to the later of the season. Decent production. He got a couple sacks. Got some pressure. I want to see what the offer is because I think we have offered him something. Now, is it enough? I don't know. But I kind of go back and forth on what should we do. I guess when it comes to Zadarius Smith, I'm not mad if we re-sign him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad if we don't. If we get someone, I know we did draft a couple people.
Mm-hmm.
Hutch is coming back, but I mean, it's kind of hard to really say what should they do because I don't know. I don't want him to spend too much money, but he brought a lot of energy. He did get some sacks, but he is on the older side of things, but hell, maybe not for, the highest contract, but bring
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of cap work going into this, and the cap stuff is really intricate because the Lions have a lot of cap room this year, but they don't have a lot of cap room scheduled for next year because a lot of contracts are set to kick in and extensions and things like that.
Oh boy.
The money that they save this year that they don't utilize can carry over from this year and contribute to next year's cap, which is why a lot of people are theorizing that they think the Lions are still trying to hold on to a decent amount of money. But the fact of the matter is, a player like Zadarius Smith and his common, production and age would command up to around $8 to $10-ish million a year. And I don't know if the Lions are willing to pay that or not. At the same time, I am of the personal opinion, I think the Lions need another defensive end. Like, I look at their roster and I don't see how they can confidently go into the season with the defensive ends that they have. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson, he's going to be back. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but I'd be shocked if he isn't at least good.
I think he'll be great.
Yeah, and even a good version of Aiden Hutchinson is, one of the better defensive ends in the league. After that is where I kind of have the concerns because we're bringing Marcus Davenport back again. And Marcus Davenport is insanely talented and is productive when he plays.
Injuries.
He never is on the field is the problem. He gets hurt so often. It seems like last year he got hurt, I believe, in the second game. But at the same time, again, he is very talented. He is the kind of defensive end that the Lions like. I think that they need another guy because Davenport just doesn't seem like a player you can count on to play more than a handful of games. He might go out there and play most of the season, but if he doesn't, what is our next guy at defensive end? I mean, they can move guys around, and of course, they drafted the kid in the 6th round and all those different kind of things, but I think they need another person that can specifically get after the passer because if it's all on Hutchinson, I don't like that. And Za'Darius wasn't superstar production, but he was decent.
Yeah, he was decent. What about our pick 28? Williams?
So Tyleek is a defensive tackle. And I mean, they can move guys around again. They can be very versatile with the defensive line, but Tyleek is a defensive tackle. Tyleek is a run stuffer primarily. He can push the pocket, whatever, but he's a guy that needs to play in the middle, and I think they particularly picked him for the middle because of the fact that Aleem McNeil also will be out for at least the first 4 to 6 games of the season, if not more. So I like Tyleek. I think Tyleek is going to play a lot. I don't think Tyleek is a defensive end, though.
No, I think he's quick enough.
Yeah, and I mean, again, they can move guys around. I think that Josh Pascal can play out there. I think that Levi Onwuzurike can play out there, but I don't think that those are necessarily strong pass rushing guys. I think they need another guy that can get after the quarterback. So Aiden Hutchinson isn't always getting double teamed on the edge or getting extra attention, getting the extra chips and stuff like that. Za'Darius Smith is a guy that if you block him one-on-one, you have a good chance of losing. So I think they need another defensive end because I don't know who their second defensive end is or third defensive end is outside of Marcus Davenport. I don't.
Right, because McNeil, yeah, we still got that injury.
Yeah, so I would like to see Za'Darius. But, I mean, I know how the Lions are. They're very next man up. They have confidence in a lot of guys on their roster. Again, the kid that they picked in the 6th round, maybe he comes in and makes some plays. But he isn't somebody that I would count on early on, more small school, raw player. But we'll see. We'll see. But it seems like the Lions and Za'Darius are just kind of doing a little flirting thing. Za'Darius could take a bigger offer from another team. But other than that, I don't think that he's going to see better options because I think he wants to contend for a championship, and obviously the Lions are set up pretty well to make a deep playoff run.
Yeah, like I said, I really wouldn't be mad if we did sign him. I wouldn't be mad maybe if we sign somebody else or if we try to move some pieces around, but yeah. I guess I think that one it'll be coming down closer to that training camp in that maybe July area. We'll really have a okay. Zadarius Smith is yay or nay.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely get a word for it for sure, and I think that him sitting out some of the offseason activities is probably intentional as well to give his body a rest. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to transition into a different topic that we wanted to get into. We're going to start our division rundown, so we're going to be starting off with the AFC West.
Boo.
So stick with us for a quick second. All right, y'all, we're back. And as I promised, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the other divisions around the league. And we're going to do a rundown on each of them. Probably won't spend too much time talking about them, but definitely want to do a little bit of an overview of some of the other teams in the NFL. And we'll start with some of the teams that are probably a little less relevant to the Lions specifically. And then kind of work our way around and eventually get to the NFC North. But today we want to start with the AFC West. Obviously a very interesting division, a very competitive, should be on paper at least, division. You got the defending AFC champion Chiefs who just continue to win the AFC for whatever reason. They didn't do a ton in the offseason, but they did pick an offensive tackle, which it seems like they kind of desperately needed.
Only one?
Yeah, they need a lot of work, and I'm not gonna go through all their moves, but they did pick a guy in the first round, Josh Simmons, who fell to them at 32 from Ohio State, which pretty much was considered widely a very good pick by them. Yeah, hate Ohio State, don't like the Chiefs, but
yes,
probably a good pick by them. But they're bringing a lot of their guys back. Otherwise, obviously Mahomes, a lot of the guys in the running backfield. They'll have Hollywood Brown for the full season. Travis Kelce's back. The defense is kind of intact as well. I don't think that they lost much of anything. So still a team to contend with. Very interesting. The Denver Broncos are a team that I think a lot of people are talking about during the offseason. They made some pretty interesting moves. They recently signed J.K. Dobbins, actually from the Chargers. Picked up Evan Ingram as a tight end, which he's pretty versatile player as well, very athletic player. But otherwise, they had a really, really solid defense last year. Bo Nix kind of had a bit of a breakout season, I think, for what expectations were for him. So they're looking to kind of keep that going. But very interesting team for sure. Sean Payton coached team, so obviously they're going to come out and be usually pretty well coached or at least have a really good scheme to run. Then you got the Chargers, who obviously are one of those teams where it's like every year, this is their year, this is their year. We'll
Mid.
talk about them. Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll talk about them a little bit more in depth. But obviously, second season for Jim Harbaugh as the head coach. They got Justin Herbert. They drafted Omarion Hampton, I believe, in the first round from North Carolina. So they drafted a running back, which is really interesting to see for sure. But he is a guy that I think a lot of people expect to be really productive. Ed McConkey had a really big season as a first-year wide receiver last year. And they got some pieces on the defensive side of the ball that are pretty interesting as well. Tarheeb still had a really good year last year. Derwin James is coming back. Khalil Mack is still there. So should be an interesting team as well. And then last but not least, of course, the Raiders, who actually made a lot of really interesting moves this offseason.
Yeah.
They went and got Geno Smith, who, isn't a superstar, but is definitely a capable and quality quarterback. They drafted Ashton Jeanty, who really, really just kind of adds a lot, I think, as a player. He just is really, really hard to bring down. Very bouncy player.
I'm gonna have my eye on him.
Yeah, I could see that going really, really well for the Raiders. It's so hard for me to not call them Oakland. I keep wanting to call them the Oakland Raiders. But then they got Jacoby Myers at wide receiver, who had a really good season last year. They have Brock Bowers, who was outstanding and who I'd expect to be probably the best tight end in the NFL this year. The offensive line continued to make some improvements. And they also went out and signed Christian Wilkins from the Dolphins, which is pretty interesting. They signed him to a really big deal. The Raiders are interesting. They added a lot of good players, so they could be a pretty fun team as well. So this division is very much a combination of just like the one really good team and then three other teams that are like, can we chip away at this one really good team? CB, I know you got some questions, comments, whatever, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you.
So with the AFC West last year, obviously Kansas City won the division 15 and LA came in second, Denver third, and then the Raiders fourth. This year, do you see any upcoming surprises for the AFC West division?
Okay, so I like to be fun here. I'm going to be fun because I could just be like,
What?
oh, well, it's going to finish the same way that it finished last year. And I could see it going that way, where the Chargers and the Broncos kind of push up against the wild card spot while Kansas City wins the division and the Raiders kind of fall behind. To be fun a little bit, I don't think it's going to finish in the same order as last year. I do think Kansas City is probably still going to find a way to win the division, or at least win a lot of games. If one of these teams breaks out and wins a lot of games, I could see Kansas City getting the wild card. But I think the Chiefs are probably going to win the division. As a surprise, though, I do think the Raiders are not going to finish in last. That is going to be my surprise.
For the record, they were 4-13.
Yeah, and I don't think this is a 4-13 team. They also, I forgot to mention, added Pete Carroll as their head coach.
Yeah.
It was fun. It's just so fun watching the Pete Carroll versus Jim Harbaugh thing. I feel like Pete Carroll took this job just to kind of screw with Jim Harbaugh. Either way, he's in the division now, which is going to make things just very, very chaotic. You got Sean Payton, who can be a bit of a hothead. You got Jim Harbaugh, who obviously I love. I am just the biggest Jim Harbaugh fan that there is of a head coach.
We
He's
know.
amazing.
Glaze him.
But he's a little bit wild. Pete Carroll's a little bit wild. And you got Andy Reid, who's just, first ballot Hall of Fame head coach. So
Mastermind.
yeah, exactly. So it's a very, very interesting division with the coaches. I think that the Raiders are they're gonna piss some people off. Like, I think they're gonna be a team that's gonna come out fighting, swinging early, just to let people know, hey, we are not bullshitting here. So I think the Raiders are going to play fun, and I think that they're going to play fast, and I think that they're going to score some points. I don't know who they're going to stop from throwing the ball. I don't think that they have a very good defensive secondary, but I could see them in a lot of high-scoring games. And they do got Max Crosby as well. So the defensive line could be very, very interesting, but that's my surprise, is that the Raiders are not going to finish in last.
Okay, Raiders not in last. So you think the Raiders won't be last in the division?
Yes, I don't know if it's the Chargers or if it's the Broncos who are going to finish behind them. I think one of those teams is going to have a season that's not as good as everybody expects.
I disagree with that. I think it's going to be, I think who I'm watching, I think Denver will take a step up. They were 10-7 last year. I think they'll win 11 games. I think they'll be 11-6. I think the Chargers will take the step back. I know they lost J.K. Dobbs, 1,000-yard rusher. Well, okay, 905 yards, but almost 1,000. Yeah, I think it'll be Kansas City. I don't think Kansas City's going to win, what did they win, 14, 15 games last year? I don't think it'll be that. I think maybe we're looking at 12. So Kansas City, Denver, LA, Oakland. I think that'll be my list. But do you think that Denver or LA or even the Raiders can unseat Kansas City for the AFC West division title?
I'm gonna say no, because if there was a team to do it, I feel like it would be the Chargers, but I think the Chargers are a year away, is what I feel.
I think Denver can do it, but not this year.
If I had to pick a team that's going to finish behind the Raiders, I think it is Denver. Okay, Denver. Bo Nix, he played good. But Bo Nix is not a guy that I think has a very high ceiling. I mean, everybody talked about the age thing last year, the fact that he played in college for what felt like a decade. I don't know about the room for growth with a Bo Nix player. He might be who he is. Who he was last year might be exactly who he is. He could get better. Quarterbacks typically have a later years of progression, but I don't know if Bo Nix is going to get a lot better.
He threw for 38.
I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but I think that when you look at what they have on the offensive side of the ball, they have a combination of running backs that are cool. I mean, J.K. Dobbins, that was a good signing. J.K. Dobbins also was available this late in the offseason because J.K. Dobbins always gets hurt. The rest of their running backs are kind of fun, interesting, but like they just kind of don't seem to have a number one guy. I don't know. I don't really understand their running back situation. As far as the wide receivers, Sutton's nice. He makes the big highlight reel type plays. I think that he's a quality wide receiver. Outside of Sutton, it's a bunch of guys who are fine, cool, but I think are like schemed up more so kind of players, guys that Sean Payton helps elevate a little bit. Everett Ingram, I thought was a good sign, and I do think that's a good signing. But again, I don't know why the Jags are willing to let him go. Not saying there's something there, but maybe there's something there. I don't know. I don't find the Broncos offense very impressive. And their defense, I think, was like the number one defense in the league almost last year. I feel like they played a little bit above their heads last year.
Defense can win them games alone.
I think the defense is really good. Pat Surtain is the best cornerback in the NFL. I get it. I don't know if I'm a believer in the rest of their defense necessarily. I think it's a good defense. I think it's a quality defense. But I think that their offense is fine. I think their defense is good. I just think they're kind of middle of the pack. I think a one big injury could lead this team spiraling down. I am not a big fan of that Broncos team. Chargers, I like, but I mean, Justin Herbert, all the potential in the world, still waiting to see it fully be fulfilled.
And what year is this for him? 4?
I don't know, 6. It's been a minute for Justin Herbert. It's about time for Justin Herbert to be the guy, not just the guy that looks like the guy, like physically, he's big, tall, fast, strong, whatever you want to call it, big arm, huge arm, can throw the ball, make every single throw on the field. But he's got to actually show it. But I like Justin Herbert. I would take Justin Herbert over Bo Nix any day of the week. Absolutely. And I don't have even a single question about that. I like the running back situation. Letting J.K. Dobbins go, drafting Amarion Hampton. They also brought in Najee Harris from the Steelers. I like that. I like that running back room. I think that running back room, it's not I don't know, because Ashton Jeanty might just be like that. But I could see it being the best running back room in the division. I really like Ladd McConkey. Really
I like Ladd. Nah.
Ladd. I had Ladd on my fantasy team. He was a baller last year. I absolutely like Ladd. I don't know what they're doing on the outside. There's Mike Williams. I don't even know if Mike Williams is healthy because Mike Williams is never healthy. Quentin Johnston is fun. They drafted Trey Harris from Ole Miss. He could be a guy. I don't know with Ole Miss offensive players. They're a little bit funky. I like the Chargers team, though. I do. I think the defense has room for improvement. I think they will improve. I like the Chargers of any team to overtake the Chiefs. I also, again, am a big Harbaugh guy, and Harbaugh really gets his guys to buy in by about year 3. I think next year is the year where I'm like, watch out for the Chargers. Let them get another piece on defense and let them get maybe another piece on offense. And I think this team could really go.
How long Najee Harris been playing?
With the Steelers, I want to say 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, good player, good player. I mean, he, left some space to be desired for sure with the Steelers, but the Steelers relied pretty heavily upon him. I think that Hampton and Harris is a good backfield. I think if Trey Harris from Ole Miss can be somebody, because Quentin Johnson, I just cannot count on to catch the ball with alligator hands. I don't know what the hell he's doing out there, but they got 2 elite tackles. They got Rashawn Slater and they got Joe Alt. This Chargers team, I do. I think the Chiefs are still going to win the division, but I think the Chargers are going to be hot and fast, and I think they're going to play well, and I think they're going to be the second best team in the division, and I think the Raiders are right there.
So you thinking the Raiders can finish third?
I think they can. Now, the Broncos, I think, are obviously a better team. And the Broncos actually play defense, which we got to see the Raiders play defense consistently. Again, I don't know who they're going to stop from throwing the ball on the outside, but this division also isn't the high-flying kind of division anymore. Like, who's the best wide receiver in this division?
Maybe Sutton? Maybe?
I think it's Jacoby Myers. I'm not going to lie. I think Jacoby Myers is the best wide receiver in this division, which says a lot about who this division has on the outside. So good for the Raiders for not investing necessarily in corner very much, because I guess that's the position that you need the least in this division. You got to stop teams from running, and they got some guys that can play on the D lines. Yeah, I don't know. I just, the Broncos don't scare me.
Okay, so who do you think will be better this season quarterback-wise? Bo Nix, Herbert, or Patrick Mahomes?
Well, that's not a fair question. I think
Mahomes did take a step back last year. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I mean, not a huge step, but
Mahomes is very much in the do what my team needs kind of phase. Do enough, not necessarily save the team. Also, the Chiefs are clearly just not very interested in investing in wide receiver very much. I mean, Xavier Worthy is,
No, why? Because Worthy didn't even have 1,000 yards last season.
So I think it's the fact that they keep winning anyway, but I think Worthy will get there. I think that Worthy is a good player. Hollywood Brown still got a little bit left. Raji Rice, I don't know what the situation is there.
I think he hurt, ain't he?
He was hurt, but then he might be back, but then he never got suspended. He'll probably have to deal with a pretty lengthy suspension.
Well, yeah, that.
Yeah, so I don't know what that situation looks like. He's really good though. He could be the best receiver in the division if he's out there on the field, but
Travis Kelce old.
Yeah, Kelsey's getting up there. I mean, I could see him bouncing back a little bit, but he's getting up there. But Mahomes is going to be the best in the division. I say Mahomes, Bert, and then Nix. Geno and Nix is interesting.
Bo Nix.
You must like Bo Nix.
Thank you.
I think Bo Nix has got a lot of heart. I think he's a really intelligent player, but I don't know. Geno Smith has been really, really productive at certain points in his career. He's going to have Brock Bowers to throw to. The Raiders might have the best receiver and the best tight end in this division. Just throwing it out there.
Best receiver?
They got the best pass rusher in Max Crosby. They might have the best running back in Ashton Genty at some point.
Well, it must be organization because they can't never put the shit together.
Well, I just don't think they had some of these players. I don't.
Shit, they had Adams.
They did have Adams, but who the hell was their quarterback last year?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah. It was Aiden O'Connell for a decent part of the season. No offense to Aiden O'Connell, not the guy. I think Jimmy Garoppolo might have still been around. Like, they were just kind of not putting guys out there. The fact that they have a guy who is fine, Geno Smith, again, is not like a superstar, but
decent.
Good. Yeah, he can play. This is probably the best quarterback Jacoby Myers has ever played with. So, yeah, exactly. I'm just saying. I think that the Raiders could be fairly surprised. They got Pete Carroll, who's been successful as an NFL head coach, who can get guys to buy in pretty easily as well. I'm just being fun. I'm just throwing this out there for the sake of the fun. Because I can obviously see the Raiders still finishing last. But even if they finish last, I'd be shocked if they don't win at least 6 games.
Okay, I can deal with that because they won 4, and it ain't nowhere to go but up, pretty much. Well, I mean, you can go down and win 0 games, but as a Detroit Lions fan, we know how that feels. But, I mean, to me, with the moves they made, it's nowhere to go but up. But I think Mahomes will still be the best quarterback. I want to see how he bounces back this season. But a lot of that was the offensive line, I feel. I know people going to say, oh, well, he took a step back. He's this, he's that. Reportedly, Travis Kelce dropped 20 pounds, which I don't know how true that is. But he's older. He's a step slower, in my opinion. What did he have last year? Well, he had 823 receiving. Okay. All right. Tight end. I can live with that.
Yeah.
Worthy had 638. We got to get him going. But like you said, Kansas City finds a way to win. They find a way to win.
Yeah. And the thing with Kansas City, I think at this point is, for the past couple of years now, it's the defense. The defense is really kind of the calling card for that team. And they still aren't getting any worse on that end. I mean, I think in the secondary, again, they got some spots that can maybe be shored up a little bit more, but like they just got a really good defense, and the defense does just enough for the offense to be able to pull it off at the last minute. If Mahomes needs 3 points in a 17-17 game,
he can get them there.
Exactly. They got enough to do that. Are they going to be a team that's going to blow people out? I still don't think that they have that right now. I don't. But Mahomes is still extremely talented. The offensive line hopefully will at least be better this year. So I still think the Chiefs are the team to beat there. But if Bo Nix takes a step forward, if that Broncos defense remains dominant, they could be interesting. I think the Chargers are going to be really fun. And the Raiders, I think, are going to win some games. I think they're going to steal some games from some teams in this division.
Okay, well, there we have it. So that's our predictions for the boring ass AFC West.
You think this division is boring?
Because, in my opinion, Kansas City is going to win it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's understandable.
Chargers look good on paper every year, and then they're like average.
Chargers should have won a playoff game last year. I don't know what the heck happened with Herbert throwing all those interceptions. It was a strange game. Very, very weird game. But they were in there. They were right there. And I think that this year, a step up would be winning a playoff game. Didn't the Broncos, did they win a playoff game, or did they? I think they did win a playoff game.
I believe they did win one.
Yeah, this is a very competitive division, and I wonder if there wasn't this superpower team just kind of standing over everybody that they wouldn't maybe be able to push a little bit more. But we'll see. We'll see. Should be interesting.
Alrighty. Well, what division are we doing next episode? Or
we're gonna move to the AFC South.
Boo.
Yeah, that's a fun division too, in different ways. So we'll chat about them next time. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. That's enough for today. We don't want to talk y'all ear off too much. But we shall be back next week. And again, we'll be talking about the AFC South, any updates with the Lions, which the Lions I don't think are doing any kind of mandatory mini camps or anything. So probably be quiet on that front into the beginning of training camp. But we'll be back with the AFC South prediction for y'all, and hopefully Zadarius Smith has re-signed with the Lions.
Yep, hopefully we got some Lions news. Also coming up, we will do a mock draft after our division series are over.
Absolutely. So
who's your number one pick?
I'm not going to give away no game. I'm giving away no sauce. Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll catch y'all next time. With that being said, CB, go ahead and wrap it up for me.
All right, world. It's your girl, CB. That is King Keith. This is another episode of 411 Lions. You can follow us on TikTok, Amazon Music, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify at 411 Lions. Peace.